I just got out of Maxine, the latest from Ty West's film trilogy that also includes X and Pearl. I have a lot of things to say about this movie, and I want to tell you why I love this sleazy little 80s throwback. Hello Flickering Myth family, and welcome to our channel. My name is EJ, and we have quite the video ahead of us today. Continuing our good year for horror films, we are going to be jumping into the Ty West slasher 80s throwback. Yes, we are talking about Maxine. For those weird little sickos who have been wanting to see more from Ty West, well, our time is finally here. This is a filmmaker I've been interested in for quite some time. House of the Devil was really cool. I remember his quick little appearance in You're Next, and I was like, who is that guy? I'm interested in him. And Ty West has continued to be a figure in horror that I've quite enjoyed, but he really stormed into the mainstream with X and then with Pearl. Now he is back with Maxine, the kind of wrap up to this odd trilogy of movies. Well, the connecting tissue between all of them is Mia Goth, who is back for another round of amazing horror acting. My goodness, not only is Ty West a fun, interesting director, surprisingly a stronger editor than I thought he would be. This is probably the tightest of all of the films, but I love Mia Goth at the center of these movies. I have liked her since The Cure for Wellness. This is an actress who has really grown in horror and in our just Hollywood culture in general, so to see those two pair up once again and give us this 80s Brian De Palma meets Skid Row type of movie, I am quite just amazed, and I had a fun time watching this movie. I've seen other horror films this year that might be a bit more serious, a bit more prestige feeling. I've seen sleazier, bloodier, gorier horror films, but something about Maxine just hits that right note. It is as sleazy and bloody as you would want, but there is an underlining message and a vibe to this movie that really seems like it's trying to make something above the slasher movies that it's homaging. I love a Brian De Palma, I love a Dario Argento, John Carpenter. These are filmmakers I absolutely love, but rarely do we feel like we get the messages. Well, John Carpenter does love a message. So yeah, I just feel like Maxine is really trying to say a lot here. There is a lot of commentary on filmmaking, on Hollywood, on 80s culture, satanic panic, on women in this industry and how they're looked at, the growth from adult films to filmmaking. There is so much they try to tackle, maybe a little bit too much of times in terms of themes and emotions, but for plot, it's straightforward, easy, revenge type of slasher movie, and I quite enjoyed it. We first met Maxine back when she was just a budding adult star in X. Now she's in Hollywood in the 1980s, specifically 1985. What a great year. St. Elmo's Fire's in the background, some really good jams, really good horror films. My goodness, what a great time. Well, Maxine is trying to find her place in the industry. She nails an amazing audition, gets a role in The Puritan 2, a prestigious slasher throwback. The Prestige movie being like hailed as a classic as it is, I'm like, what 80s horror film was this? Like, not even The Shining was that well received. But anyways, Maxine gets the gig, but looming behind her is her past. There is someone who is making her confront the dirty deeds that we saw in X, and now to further her career, she has to put that behind her or confront it face on. And boy, does she do that. We get some gnarly kills. We get Maxine trying to figure out this mystery, and we get a killer trying to make Maxine pay for her sins. There's a lot here that is good, easy, fun, throwback slasher stuff. It's a simple plot, but what it really does remind me of, more than just slashers, a Brian De Palma film. Yes, we have the wipes. I don't know if there's a good split diopter shot like we got in Carrie and things like that, but it has such a filmmaking style. There's a bit of an Argento there, the Giallo movies that were really prevalent at this time, like New York Ripper. I really love what we were doing with this film, what we were homaging. This seems like a love letter to not just the VHS era of horror films, but just horror in general. There's a little bit of Psycho there. There's a little bit of almost every horror movie you can think of. I was really impressed to see Ty West jam-pack this with homages, with little moments, and still has opportunity to be its own inventive thing. There's a kill here that involves a person getting squished, great. There is things getting stepped on in this movie that made me go, oh my god. Like, I had a lovely time with it. Is it the most compelling script ever? No, but to be honest, I don't think X or Pearl really has a lot going on in it either. I actually would rank this is going to be kind of the hot take, I would rank this under Pearl. I think Pearl is a fun, just beautiful Technicolor nightmare. It's well acted, probably Mia Goth's best acting out of this whole trilogy, but I would put Maxine right under Pearl. The story is a bit stronger than what we got in X. Do I think Mia Goth has as much juicy material as she does in X? Well, no, she gets a dual role there, and it's really good, but I loved Maxine in this movie. I loved her confidence, her aura, what she wanted to do, the journey that she goes through with the character, her confrontation with this big epic villain at the end. All of this really works for me, and I really think this is a strong outing, a good 80s good time, and also I think this has a slight, as gory as it could be, a slight mainstream edge that can put Maxine up in like the best horror films of the year, if not one of the more stronger entries at the box office and for mainstream filmgoers. Mia Goth is not in this movie alone. One thing I loved about this movie is, the cinematography, the score's great. Is there a little too many 80s soundtrack needle drops? Personally, once we start getting to a time period and we're just doing song after song, I get a little tired of it, but that the St. Elmo's Fire song, what a great use of that. No, what I really love about this movie is the cast. Giancarlo Esposito, Kevin Bacon. We also get Halsey in a brief but important role. Elizabeth Debicki. I think there's some really interesting actors who add something. Even Lily Collins has a small role, but I really felt for her character. I really understood it instantly. Ty West has a good way of writing simple but effective characters. I think that's something I really liked about X. I think that's why we all fell in love with X, and I think that's why even Pearl, the glimmers of interesting stuff we got in X, that's why we got a full film in Pearl, because we love these characters. The briefest, the smallest things, there's a good time with the directors and the actors bringing this to importance, making it feel like it's interesting. Giancarlo Esposito, I wanted to have a bigger role, but every time we would see him, I'm like, well, sis, that wig. And two, what are you doing? It's fun, it's outlandish. Kevin Bacon was at an 11. The two detective B plots, that's like Bridget Monaghan and Bobby Cannavale, like, oh yeah, you guys are there. We need a trashy, unimportant cop plot in these movies. That's just what you do when you're doing a giallo film, when you're doing a slasher movie. You need that B-plot cop stuff to really kind of pad it out. But everyone mattered. Everyone had fun. Do I think our last final villain, when everything is revealed, do I think it's a little like, oh, the acting is not my favorite? No, not necessarily. That's kind of the weakest part of this movie. But then we have Mia Goth, who just works well with every character in every situation, gives me every emotion. I can watch Mia Goth just say, I will not accept the life I do not deserve over and over again. What an amazing actress. Just her ability to portray so much with her face, to give us so much, to transform, from Maxine that we saw in X to what she's did with Pearl. She's such a transformative performer, and we really get that transformation done perfectly in this movie. I just am so happy that Maxine lived up to my personal hype. Alright everyone, that is it for my review of Maxine, the latest film from Ty West. Oof, I kind of wish we got more of these. Even though this isn't like my favorite horror franchise we've ever got, I just enjoy each and every year that we've got them. That they're fun, that they're compelling, that they really get a conversation started. Ty West has really tapped into the pop culture mainstream with these movies, and I think Maxine has potential to really be an impressive outing. Do I think it's going to make the most money ever? No, it's going to get, charged in between A Quiet Place and Bad Boys and Despicable Me and all that, but I really hope Maxine gets an audience and people enjoy the fun 80s-ness that is this movie. What did you guys think of my review? What do you think of Maxine? If you've seen it already, share your thoughts down in the comments below. If you're hyped for it, tell me why. Tell me what you're loving about, the hype, the Maxine stuff. What's your favorite film from Ty West? Share all those thoughts down in the comments below. Subscribe to Flickering Myth and give me a thumbs up if you did enjoy. Alright everyone, let's talk about Maxine, Ty West movies, and Mia Goth right down below.